Do you want to hear a joke? So, a Tylosaurus walks into a bar and one of the patrons says, "My God, it's a Tylosaurus! Wow, they haven't been seen for nearly 80 million years. What's it doing here?" And someone says, no, the joke goes like this. A Tylosaurus walks into a bar, the bartender says, "Why the long face?" Yeah, 2 bad jokes in just under 30 seconds. That's a new record. Anyways, should we get into the video? How are we doing, everybody? It's your Mosasaur, Prince Steel, Tethesaurus Yorkshire here, and this is the... so many takes of this intro. I don't know what's wrong with me. But anyways, we're going to do the rest of the series for the Mosasaur common names, and we're going to continue it with a 2-parter on the Tylosaurinae. Now, Tylosaurinae, if you don't know what they are, they're pretty large mosasaurs, and they're characterised by having a long skull with a long pointy bit on the end of it. Look. I shouldn't have done that. I do sorry. I'm very sorry if I poked your eye out there. But yeah, Tylosaurs, they were large-bodied, they had elongate skulls, and they have a projection on the front of the snout, which is basically what's called an edentulous predental rostrum. And basically, that's a fancy word for the pointy bit at the end of the skull with no teeth. Yeah, but anyways, let's get into the naming. So the first Tylosaur we'll actually deal with is a Tylosaur that's got a bit of an SP with it, so it's either pronounced as Tylosaurus SP or Tylosaurus affincamzenensis, but then that probably should be Napoleonicus, but anyways. So yeah, because of that, I'm going to go for this alternative name for it, even though I potentially think it could be actually a different genus of Tylosaur altogether. But this animal has been dated to the Tylosaurinae about 90 million years ago, and he's from the... that formation. I'm really sorry. I'm not going to try and pronounce it. I'm going to offend someone. But anyway, 4 to 5 meters long, so quite a sizable mosasaur, but not Tylosaurus, typical Tylosaur size. So for this animal, and for most Tylosaurs, I'm actually going to go with either the common name of Tylosaur or ram-nosed lizard. So this would be the Mexican ram-nosed lizard or the Mexican Tylosaur. Pretty simple, pretty easy. But whether it's Tylosaurus, it's a conversation for another day, but let's not do that, because Mosasaur phylogeny, it's not nice. Next on the list is Tylosaurus imbiensis, and this is from the Upper Tyrolean of the Upper Tyrolean chalk in Angola. Similar size to the previous one, about 4 to 6 meters in length. Again, could be a Tylosaurus, might not be a Tylosaurus, we're not entirely sure, but we'll not do that. We're not going to the phylogeny. Hate phylogeny. But anyways, this guy, because he's from East Africa, I've gone for the East African ram-nosed lizard or the East African Tylosaur. Again, really, really simple with this guy. If they turn out to be a different genus, I could come up with a different name for it, but hey-ho, you know, I like that name, yeah. Not the fact that it's maybe not Tylosaurus, but yeah. Alright, now we're going to get into Tylosaurus proper, and when I say proper, I mean Tylosaurus napoleonicus, probably one of the earliest proper Tylosaurus species we actually find. It's from the Upper Canisian to Lower Santonian, it's from the Niagara Chalk Formation, so Kansas area, which in fact, there was actually a species that used to be called Tylosaurus kansanensis, which has now been sunk into this one, because one's thought to be separate, but they're actually probably the same animal. Interesting story. Now, early versions of the species actually grow up to 5 to 7 meters, but later ones, so Lower Santonian, they grow to about 9 meters long, so there's a bit of a size jump there. And because it's an American Tylosaurus species, and because, well, we're going to get into another Tylosaurus species from America soon, very, very soon, I've gone with the Lesser American ram-nosed lizard or the Lesser American Tylosaur. And it's all based on size, He's lesser because he's smaller. That's right, he's a bit smaller, tiny little fella. And now we're going to get on to his big brother. Tylosaurus prorigor, from the Upper Santonian to the Middle Campanian of, well, quite a few places in America. I mean, just down there. But yeah, this guy was very diverse across the United States, and he was very big, very, very big. Early examples seem to have ranged from about 8 meters to maybe 9-10 meters, but some of the larger, later specimens get to about 13 meters. That's a T-Rex sized animal. That's big. He's a big lad. In fact, I think this is what the skull's based off. Maybe not. I don't know. Anyways, go away. But because this guy is bigger than Tylosaurus napoleonicus, which actually is most likely his ancestor, we're going to go for Greater American ram-nosed lizard or the Great American Tylosaur, or Greater American Tylosaur, I should have said then. But yeah, big lad, huge, massive, and very voracious. We have quite a few specimens we've actually stomach contents in it. So yeah, they didn't mess about. They didn't mess about, old pro rigger. Didn't mess about. Nah. And we're not gonna mess about with the rest of this video. We're gonna get on with the rest of the Mosasaurs. So let's get on to the next one. Yes, you can see I've had to adjust myself because my back is knackered. I'm getting old. I'm nearly 28. I'm getting old. Oof. Anyways, never mind my back, you know, being a vertebrate and all that. But anyways, Tylosaurus borealis. Now, Tylosaurus borealis is from the Santonian of Canada, from the formation that's on screen. Again, I'm not going to try and pronounce it. This guy was probably about 6.5 to 8 meters in length. And really simple, this one. Now, I was going to go with Canadian ram-nosed lizard and Canadian Tylosaur, but that would interfere with other taxa that you find within Canada and also the United States. They seem to cross over a bit. So for this one, I've gone for the boreal ram-nosed lizard or the boreal Tylosaur. Really easy stuff there, really easy. Unfortunately, this guy is still in a bit of a dispute, so whether he is actually Tylosaurus or not, it's unknown. I think he could be. It could be an offshoot of Tylosaurus napoleonicus that actually migrated north and couldn't compete with Tylosaurus pruriga. But hey ho, we'll see what happens. But anyways, let's get on to the next one. Yeah, should we get on to the next one? Yeah. So the final Tylosaur we're going to cover in this video is probably one of the latest Tylosaur species, and that's Tylosaurus saskatchewanensis from the Upper Campanian of the Bear Paw Formation in Canada. A lot of words there, I know, I do apologise for that. Probably about 9 to 10 meters long, so not as big as Tylosaurus pruriga, but probably bigger than Tylosaurus napoleonicus. And because this guy seems to be, well, Canadian, like borealis, but this guy seems to be more prevalent, I've gone for Greater Canadian ram-nosed lizard or Greater Canadian Tylosaur. It sort of mirrors the Tylosaurus pruriga from America. It's pretty easy, really cool. But yeah, you can see why I didn't go with Canadian one for borealis, because I feel like Saskatchewanensis is probably more fitting. But anyways, guys, so that was the first part of the Tylosaur common names, and we're going to get on to the more sort of more divisive ones. Let's just say the taxonomy of Tylosaurs. Yeah, it's going to give me nightmares. But anyways, guys, hope you're having a good day. Hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you later. Ta-da. Bye.